It's Saturday, the 30th of April 2016. I'm Neelu Sabine, and I'm going to update on the Hampstead case following the vigil on the 22nd of March 2015, where about 36 people had gathered outside the Christ Church in Hampstead in honour of the babies and children that have been abused there, according to 2 children aged 8 and 9, and their mother, Ella Draper, who'd given a witness statement by video and in writing. And that statement had been forwarded to the authorities. Prior to that date, there had been a formal complaint made to the Independent Police Complaint Commission in October 2014 about the police conduct and the police failure to investigate those allegations. And there was another prompt sent on the 15th of May 2015 to the IPCC because there had been no formal response. And that triggered the response of the 23rd of October 2015 from the IPCC, which basically found the complaint of the 15th of May to be upheld, that the police had not responded to the complaint. That means the complaint stands valid, and so the remedy sought, i.e. a proper investigation, is by law becomes necessary by the police and the CPS. So that should have been the 23rd of October 2015 should have been the end of my false prosecution. The earlier prosecution in the lower court, in the Highbury Corner Magistrates Court, that was thrown out on the 7th of October due to non-attendance of the 6 witnesses. And this report had mentioned the same police that had failed to investigate those allegations who were falsely prosecuting me. So there was a question in law now that whether the police and the CPS are higher authority than the Independent Police Complaint Commission, and they're not. So once the IPCC have found a fault in the police and the CPS, that means they're discredited. That means they do not have any authority to investigate anybody until they remedy the lack of investigation in their criminal cover-up in the Hampstead case. So the judges in the Blackfriars Crown Court have all been made aware of the Independent Police Complaint Commission report and findings against the police and CPS in Hampstead. We have a now situation whereby the judges in the Crown Court have been informed that the police and CPS have dishonoured the IPCC, and they should turn around and remedy that dishonour. They should require the police and CPS to honour all the failings in the Hampstead case, which is the children were not taken seriously. They should be taken seriously. But nonetheless, those crimes must be investigated as soon as possible. And certainly the false prosecution of myself and Sabine, we support the IPCC. Our false prosecution is persecution of whistleblowers and Mackenzie friends who try to assist families who've been let down by the police and the CPS. So that the 4 judges who've sat in the case, that's Judge Peter Clark, Judge Deva Pillay, Judge Julian Worsley, and Judge Sullivan, they are aware that the police and CPS are discredited in the IPCC report, and yet these judges they've failed to require that those failings of the police and CPS are corrected. And so the judges have now become party to the criminal cover-up of the crimes against babies and children. And so this deems this country incapable of recognizing crimes against babies and children, which means that all children and babies in state care are in danger because crimes committed against them will not be recognized, taken seriously, or investigated. And this is enough grounds. What is happening in this particular case is enough grounds for parents to demand that their children are returned to them immediately, because the state, i.e. the UK PLC, which is a corporation, not a country, is a profit-based satanic structure which profits from enslaving humans, children, babies, parents, mothers, families, and does not recognize our rights or our divinity, that we're God's children, and the oath to God to maintain God's laws, to serve and protect God's children, is being violated by public servants in this particular case of the Hampstead case. So not only did the public servants commit crimes against babies and children, but those public servants falsely accused me and Sabine of vexing the priest, of intimidating them. They lied that I was inside the church filming the priest in close proximity when the CPS and police knew I was outside. So they don't care about the truth. They have all perjured, all witnesses have perjured, all court proceedings have been informed, all judges have been informed, and that I was outside, so I could not, they can't call themselves witnesses because they never saw me. The only person I saw was Paul Goss outside, the caretaker in the tweed coat, who grabbed the camera from my hand, and his wife, I saw the back of her, Valerie Goss, but he was engaging in a conversation with me voluntarily, and he was not disturbed by it. He didn't get intimidated by it. And the police presence was outside. There was no incident that suggested that I intimidated him or his wife. So we have a situation where all the remedy can come through Hampstead case for all parents, because the state does not recognize crimes against babies and children on those legal grounds, and they can quote this case. Myself witnessed my niece's death in a hospital, pharmacist struck off for whistleblowing. So it's put me on this journey to stop baby torture on the planet. This petition will be called the Peace Petition, and the peace will come when the crimes against babies and children stop, when the counterfeit currency is replaced with gold currency, when the government, the Treason Act is of 1776, then we have the Perjury Act and the Fraud Act. So if public servants are Satanists, practicing Satanists, and they're pretending that they're serving the public, then they are committing perjury, treason and fraud. All the time that this case is against me and Sabine rather than against the police and the CPS. So we'll use the evidence that we have of what the state has done to me and Sabine as evidence of treason, as evidence of ill intent, as evidence that there is no intention to stop crimes against babies and children. There's no evidence, there's no intention to stop children being kidnapped by the state, and the state is treasonous state. Then the peace petition will show that people recognize the state as a terrorism against the people, and it will be basically a demonstration to Parliament that the people are not going to tolerate the crimes anymore. We're not going to have imposters in their Parliament. We're not going to recognize them. in local authorities or social services or teachers or Ofsted or priests because the state has not done the right thing with the Hampstead case, and this country, the UK PLC corporation, it's not a country, will be deemed the centre of the Satanism on this planet. It will be deemed as the controller of all Commonwealth countries that are continuing with the terrorism of the counterfeit currency. And we will get our peace when we have enough signatures showing that we understand the problem stems from the City of London in the UK, and it's to do with the banking of the counterfeit currency. And we will get our peace when the banks honour the gold currency. So Peace Petition, Remedies for All is going to be the name of the petition. The Commonwealth countries are not going to recognise Satanism and this country being the capital of Satanism, because they're subservient to this country. And the same way, the counterfeit currency system uses sanctions to control the Commonwealth countries with counterfeit currency, whilst the gold currency nations are being terrorized with this counterfeit currency. So in human enslavement and counterfeit currency go in running parallel. They're one and the same issue. Sabine and I, we stand for the babies and the children who are voiceless, and the state has no interest in those crimes. Well, my view on the possibility of getting the remedy for myself and Sabine in this country are zero. And from what I understand, the possibility of getting the remedy through the International Court or the International Court of Justice or the International Criminal Court is also zero, because the controllers are, again, in this country and the Commonwealth structure. So we can only get our remedy from outside of this country and the Commonwealth country. So we can't get our remedies from America or Europe, and therefore we really do have to understand the intention of this country and its control of the Commonwealth countries to deny us our freedom and our divinity or our sovereignty or our rights, as our human rights. We have a Russian mother with 2 Russian children and Russian grandparents who come from Russia to this country, and they were not successful in taking the children to safety because this country wants to silence those children and manipulate them and torture them further to wipe out their memories and deny them the torture that they've experienced. So if this country can be dishonorable to grandparents from Russia, and the Russian government has failed, we do have to look outside of the country. And the only opposition to the counterfeit currency and slave trading is the BRICS nations. It's as simple as that. There is really no other venue. So I was going to suggest that we write to the BRICS nations, plead to their leaders and get them to intervene with the Hampstead case, get the remedy for the 2 Hampstead children, and all the other remedies will follow. So the peace petition for Hampstead, we'll call it the Hampstead Children.